I'm going to talk about 4 different things today that can greatly impact the price of XRP, in my opinion, and I believe they will all impact it in a positive way, but we're going to get to that. I've put on many different videos about XRP. I created a playlist because I wanted to understand exactly what it did, how it did, because there's a lot of, I think, misinformation out there. So I'll have videos below or links to them if you want to understand basically what XRP does. And all of it was with respect to cross-border payments, because originally that's what it was created to do. Well, it was created to do many different things, but I should say that's the first thing that it was doing on a large scale and doing successfully. When it comes to things like stablecoins and RWA tokenization, it was created for that as well, but it wasn't really doing it yet. So we're going to talk about that today. So I think those things will impact it a lot. I always have to say, big dumb animal, informational purposes only, don't do what I do. All right, let's get into these 4 different things that can really, I think, impact the price of XRP. The first is the SEC case. Now, I happen to be an attorney, but I don't practice anymore, and it was intellectual property, so it had nothing to do with this. So I'm just going to tell you my understanding. There's 2 things going on. The SEC just appealed the ruling, but we don't know what exactly they appealed because there's 2 major things going on. First, in that ruling, everyone says XRP won. Well, there was 2 things. One, the SEC was trying to say that the sale of the XRP tokens was selling securities, therefore falling under the securities laws, and therefore they shouldn't have done that because they didn't register them as securities. So that was the first thing. Now, XRP won. The judge decided in their favor and said the sale of those XRP tokens was not the sale of securities. Okay. The second thing was that there was a fine in that original case, and the fine was for about $2 billion. The SEC wanted disgorgement of their profits. In other words, whatever profit you made from selling these things, since you didn't register them as securities, you violated the law, so we want the profit you made from them. One huge fine was like $900 million or something. It all totaled up to $2 billion. Okay, so the original 2 issues was the XRP securities. It was ruled in XRP's favor that they're not, and there was originally a huge fine. So XRP won both of those and said, okay, they're not securities, and they don't have to pay $2 billion, but I think it was still $125 million to resolve charges over the institutional sales of XRP tokens. So they did still have a fine of $125 million, way different than the $2 billion. But what we don't know is what the SEC is, which of those 2 issues they're actually appealing. Personally, I don't think this case matters as much at the moment. I think over time, considering we might get a new administration and the head of the SEC might be gone, and whether or not we get a new administration, both administrations might back off of this. So regardless, I want you to understand what's going on with the SEC, and let's sit and wait to see what they're actually appealing. Now, let's move on to the fact that Bitwise files with SEC to launch an XRP ETF. Okay, you've probably seen this all over the place, so I'm just going to gloss over this. But in my opinion, that can only be positive. Who knows if that's actually going to happen this year? I would say not before the election. Who knows when it may or may not happen, but that's a big deal, right? You got the Bitcoin one went through, the Ethereum went through, had a brain fart there. And then, of course, I think there was one filed for Solana, and now XRP. So that can only be positive. So I think the outcomes of both of these are positive. All right, now let's talk about this, which I think is very interesting. It has major implications, in my opinion. MELD and the XRP ledger. Now, there's 2 things with respect to this. This is MELD Gold, and there's many articles about it, but I think this is huge because I've always looked at XRP. I own some. I always need to say that as of the taping of this video, I own some, and I've had some for quite a while, actually. And I've always been trying to figure out, do I want to buy more or not? When it comes to cross-border payments, I'm on the fence. I don't know. I think at some point it might act as a stable coin, but that aside, I got a whole video on that. But this, I think, is huge and makes me think even more positively about XRP, and that is that they're now involved in RWA tokenization, and it has been done successfully. So there's a company. It doesn't matter who the company is, what they're doing, but it matters what they're doing, just not who the company is. But let's talk about what it is. They've basically created a stable coin, and they're using the XRP ledger. And that stable coin is going to be related to gold and silver. So if you're familiar with buying gold and silver, maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's a commodity. It's typically, something that you hold because it acts very differently than your other investments. So a lot of people like myself like to buy it and just to diversify our portfolio, because when some assets go up and some go down, you want to have that balance, because over time some go down and some go up. Anyway, so gold and silver. There's basically 3 ways to buy, let's just say, gold. Silver works the same way. You can go somewhere and physically buy an ounce or a gram or however much you want. There's transaction fees involved. You have to go somewhere, you have to get it, you have to bring it back. When you sell it, you got to go find somewhere to sell it. It's not that liquid. Okay, then there's an intermediary, I will call it, which is like one that I use, Vaulted. And Vaulted, you send them money, you tell them how much to buy, they buy gold and silver, and they hold it for you on your behalf. If you want, you can have them send it to you. Okay, then the third way, which is, now that's fairly liquid because I can log on to the app and I can say sell it, and they'll sell it. Much easier than me taking gold somewhere else. Then the third way is ETFs. You can't be more liquid than that. You just log into your broker and you sell your gold ETF. If it's a spot ETF, in other words, however much gold is in there, money that's in there, they have that much gold backing it. Okay. So everyone has their opinions on, do I want this, or I want that one, which way do I want to do it? Well, I kind of do it all 3 ways because I do it for different reasons. I don't hold physical gold that I think I might want to convert in the next month or 6 months or a year, even 5 years. I hold those things for long-term assets. Then they got the middle of the road, the Vaulted, where they buy over time, physical, and then they have it sent to me and it can sit there. And then the ETFs, because if I want to load up for some reason on gold, depending upon the markets, I can do it and then I can get rid of it. All right. This, I think, is amazing because this is the same thing as Ondo tokenizing treasuries, right? You now can just simply buy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, one of these coins, which is backed 1-for-1 with gold. And I believe that they're doing a gram. It says a gram of gold, maybe a gram of silver, however much it is. And then, of course, that price is going, I'm guessing, will correspond to the spot price, which is the current going price of gold and silver. And they're using the XRP ledger. So this is, and they said they've done it successfully, and they had their first transaction involving the tokenized gold was completed yesterday. And this is of October 2nd. So on October 1st, they actually had their first transaction. I believe that's huge. Now, they're using the XRP ledger. They're using stable coins for the purchase of the gold. So the question is, are they going to actually use the XRP cryptocurrency? And I would assume that they would, as a bridge currency when they're going between the stable coin, the physical gold, just like they use it when they're doing cross-border payments, right? Changing it from one currency to XRP and XRP back to another currency. So I'm going to hold on this one as well to see, but this I think is very positive to see, well, are they actually going to use the XRP cryptocurrency in transactions involving these stable coins and gold and silver? But I think that's huge. And they're coming out, as you probably know, with their own RLUSD. So all of that's kind of old news, but I wanted to point out that the SEC case, we don't quite know yet which way they're going. What are they appealing? However, I'm not too worried about that over the long term. The second thing being the ETF that's been filed for. I think that's very positive. The real world asset tokenization being done successfully. If you watch my channel, you know that I really prefer things that have been done over when people say, well, this might be done. So in the past with XRP, I'm like, they're doing cross-border payments, but they haven't done RWA or stablecoins yet. Well, you got the legal case, which isn't that big of a deal for me. You've got the ETF. I think that's very positive. You got the real world asset tokenization. I think that's very positive. They've done it successfully. And with RLUSD, you've got the stablecoin. So now, during the perfect time, right before this, what we all believe to be a big bull run, they seem to be executing with precision and great timing. So I hope we can all make generational wealth together with crypto. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful.